June 19, 1944, 140 miles north of Yap Island, Philippine Sea. The carrier Taiho cuts through calm waters at 27 knots, her armored flight deck gleaming under the tropical sun. Admiral Jisaburo Ozawa stands on the bridge of his flagship, Japan's newest and most advanced carrier, watching the horizon with steady eyes. Behind him, the veteran carriers Shokaku and Zuikaku maintain formation, three spearheads of imperial power steaming in a proud triangle. At 0530 hours, reconnaissance aircraft launch into pre-dawn darkness. At 0550, a Mitsubishi Zero locates Task Force 58. The radio crackles with coordinates, distance, bearing. Admiral Ozawa receives the report without expression. Prepare the first wave. At 0745 hours, Taiho turns into the wind. Her deck erupts with controlled chaos as 16 Zeros, 17 Judy dive bombers, and 9 Jill torpedo bombers roar down the flight deck, engines screaming. The second wave follows. More aircraft, more power, more certainty. Ozawa allows himself a thin smile. Admiral Toyoda's words echo in his mind. The fate of the Empire rests on this one battle. Below decks, in Taiho's reinforced hangar, aviation ordnancemen fuel and arm aircraft for the next strike. The carrier smells of paint and oil, fresh from her March commissioning. Her armored flight deck can withstand direct bomb hits. Engineers promised this. 60 miles away, USS Albacore slides beneath the surface, her periscope tracking the formation. 0816 hours, Lieutenant Commander James W. Blanchard of USS Albacore peers through the periscope. His hands are steady on the grips. The largest carrier in the formation fills his view. Taiho, flagship of the mobile fleet. Bearing, his executive officer whispers. Perfect, Blanchard says. The submarine has maneuvered into ideal attack position. Blanchard does the math in his head. Range, speed, angle of deflection. The target is so close he can see aircraft spotted on her deck, men moving across the flight deck like ants on steel. Fire one. The torpedo tubes thump. 6 fish race toward Taiho at 40 knots. On Taiho's bridge, a lookout screams a warning. Ozawa turns. White wakes streak toward his flagship. No time for anything. Warrant Officer Sakio Komatsu sees them too. The young pilot sits in his Yokosuka D4Y reconnaissance plane, taxiing for takeoff. His eyes track the torpedo paths. Simple geometry. Simple, terrible mathematics. They'll hit. He makes a choice. Komatsu slams his throttle forward. The plane lurches down the deck, barely airborne, engine howling. He banks hard, drops. The aircraft's belly kisses a wave. Then he steers directly into the torpedo's path. Metal meets metal. The explosion vaporizes plane and pilot instantly. 5 torpedoes pass harmlessly. The 6th strikes Taiho's starboard side at 0820 hours. The impact shudders through 13,000 tons of steel. The damage seems minor. Captain Hiroshi Matsubara tours the compartment himself, water sloshing around his boots. 2 aviation fuel tanks ruptured, flooding contained. He checks the reports. Propulsion, operational. Navigation, operational. Flight operations, operational. Resume air operations, he orders. Taiho's deck comes alive again. Aircraft land, others launch. The carrier maintains formation, maintaining speed, maintaining the facade of invincibility. On the bridge, Ozawa watches his fleet execute Operation Ego with precision. 4 waves will hit the Americans. 4 waves to decide the fate of the Empire. Below, in darkness, aviation gasoline seeps from torn tanks. The clear liquid pools, evaporates. The vapor, heavier than air, settles into compartments. An hour passes. 2 hours. 1,000 hours, a young damage control officer notices the smell. Sweet. Chemical. His training manual sits in his locker. He's inexperienced, promoted too quickly to fill gaps left by Midway, by attrition, by the relentless American advance. He makes a decision that feels correct. Activate ventilation. Full power. The order seems logical. Explosive fumes need dispersal. Fresh air will clear them. The ventilation system roars to life. But instead of venting the vapors overboard, the powerful fans spread them throughout Taiho's sealed compartments, through passageways, into crew quarters, along the hangar deck. The armored flight deck that makes her invincible now traps the fumes inside. The carrier becomes a floating bomb. 10:36 hours. 70 miles from Task Force 58, the first Japanese attack wave meets American Hellcats. The fight is brief, brutal, one-sided. Within minutes, 25 Japanese aircraft tumble from the sky, against the loss of 1 American plane. The second wave fares worse. 107 aircraft met 60 miles out, 70 shot down before reaching the ships. American pilots will later call it the Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. On Taiho, Ozawa receives the report. His face remains impassive. 430 aircraft launched, fewer than half will return. Below his feet, invisible death spreads through ventilation shafts. 11:07 hours, radar detects the second wave's massacre. 1200 hours, the third wave launches from the mobile fleet. They meet the same fate. Hellcats diving from altitude. 650 caliber machine guns per fighter. American pilots with fuel to spare and experience to burn. The mathematics are undeniable. Japan loses more than 200 aircraft on June 19th alone. Pilots trained over years, irreplaceable, fall into the Philippine Sea. But Ozawa doesn't know the worst yet. Doesn't know that while his aircraft burn above, his carriers burn below. 14:30 hours approaches. In Taiho's hangar deck, an electric generator sparks. Just once. Routine. Meaningless. The spark finds vapor. The explosion doesn't announce itself. It simply exists. One moment, Taiho steams at full speed. The next, a catastrophic detonation tears through its internal structure. The hangar deck bulges, buckles. Armored plating designed to withstand 1,000-pound bombs from above proves useless against pressure from within. Fire races through ventilation shafts, following the same paths that spread the vapors. Men ignite. Watertight doors, sealed against flooding, trap hundreds in burning compartments. On the bridge, Ozawa grabs a stanchion as the deck tilts. Damage reports flood in, all contradictory, all catastrophic. Magazine temperatures rising. Fires out of control. Can't reach engineering. Captain Matsubara stands rigid, watching his ship die around him. 4 months. His flagship lasted 4 months from commissioning to destruction. "Admiral, we must transfer your flag," an aide insists. Ozawa doesn't move. The battle still rages. American aircraft swarm the skies. His carriers launch and recover strikes. Abandon Taiho now. Abandon command. Another explosion. Closer. The flight deck cracks open, vomiting black smoke. "Admiral, prepare a transfer," Ozawa says quietly. Destroyer Wakatsuki comes alongside, threading between burning oil slicks. Men leap across the gap. Some fall. The water below churns with debris and bodies and fuel that ignites on contact with air. 14:28 hours, Admiral Ozawa steps aboard Wakatsuki.
16:32 hours. Behind him, Taiho rolls over and sinks stern first, taking 1,263 men into darkness. Japan's newest carrier lasted 7 hours and 12 minutes after the torpedo hit. 90 miles away, USS Cavalla tracks another target. Commander Herman Kostler has been following the Japanese carrier formation since dawn. Through his periscope, he watches Shokaku, veteran of Pearl Harbor, of the Coral Sea, of every major battle in the Pacific. She steams in formation with Zuikaku, both carriers launching and recovering aircraft in perfect coordination. Range? Kostler asks. 3,000 yards, closing. Too far. Against a target moving at 25 knots with destroyer escorts prowling, 3,000 yards might as well be 3 miles. Cavalla continues the approach, silent, patient. The submarine's crew moves in practiced silence. No dropped tools, no unnecessary movement. Nothing to alert the Japanese destroyer's hydrophones. 1100 hours passes. The formation appears invincible. Carriers steaming proudly, having already launched strikes against the Americans. They haven't been found by search planes. The battle tilts their way. Kostler watches, waits, his eye pressed to the periscope rubber, calculating. 11:17 hours. Shokaku turns. Wind across the deck for recovery operations. Aircraft returning from the slaughter over Task Force 58. Fuel gauges bouncing on empty. The geometry shifts. The range closes. 1,500 yards. Kostler allows himself a breath. Now. Stand by all tubes. The torpedo room crew takes positions, hands on firing mechanisms, eyes on indicators. 11:20 hours. Fire 1, Fire 2, Fire 3, Fire 4, Fire 5, Fire 6. Cavalla shudders with each launch. The submarine's bow lifts slightly as 6 torpedoes, 3 tons of ordnance total, race toward Shokaku at 46 knots. Ticker deep, rig for silent running, all ahead flank. Before the last fish clears the tube, Japanese destroyers are already turning. Their sonar pings echo through Cavalla's hull. Depth charges will follow. The submarine dives, racing away from the killing zone. Above, on Shokaku's bridge, lookouts spot the wakes. 6 white lines converging. Too late. Too close. Officers shout orders. The carrier begins a turn. Engines strain. The massive vessel responds with agonizing slowness. 11:22 hours. 3 torpedoes slam into Shokaku's starboard side. The impacts nearly cut the carrier in half. Seawater rushes through torn hull plates, flooding boiler rooms, drowning engineering spaces. Power fails. Lights die. Emergency systems activate. But worse than water is what comes next. The torpedoes rupture aviation fuel tanks, the same design flaw that doomed Taiho, repeated across the fleet. Gasoline vapor spreads through damaged compartments. Unlike Taiho's slow poisoning, Shokaku's wounds are immediate. Fires ignite at the point of impact. Fuel lines burst. The vapor finds flame instantly. On the bridge, Captain Hiroshi Matsubara, no relation to Taiho's captain, watches instruments fail. 10 degrees list. 15. 20. The mathematics are simple. Fatal. Order abandon ship. But evacuation takes time. Time Shokaku doesn't have. Men pour from hatches onto Shokaku's canted deck. Life rafts deploy. Some inflate properly, others don't. The carrier lists further. 25 degrees now, the ocean creeping up the starboard side. Below decks, hundreds remain trapped. Watertight doors sealed to contain flooding now seal their fate. Water rises in darkened compartments. Men pound on steel, screaming for release that won't come. 12:10 hours, 48 minutes after the torpedoes hit. An explosion rips through the carrier as ordnance begins cooking off. The blast is catastrophic. Magazines detonating, fuel tanks exploding. The accumulated ammunition of a fleet carrier going up in a single apocalyptic moment. The shockwave rolls across the water, knocking men from their feet on nearby destroyers. Men still below decks don't even have time to scream. Shokaku heels rapidly to starboard, fires raging across her length. The veteran of Pearl Harbor, survivor of Coral Sea and Santa Cruz, lists 45 degrees, 50. Men slide across canted decks, grab for handholds, jump into oil-slicked water. Destroyers circle, pulling survivors aboard, but the oil ignites. Men burn in the water. The carrier rolls completely over. Her keel breaks the surface, barnacles and rust exposed to sunlight. Propellers still turning slowly. Then, she slides beneath the waves, bow first, a massive air pocket escaping with a roar. 1,272 men go with her. The veteran of every major Pacific battle sinks in less than an hour. The sun sets on a dying fleet. Admiral Osawa stands on Haguro's bridge, his second transferred flagship of the day. Behind him, oil slicks burn where Shokaku and Taiho went down. 3 carriers sorted this morning, 3 proud spearheads of Japanese naval power. Now, 1 remains. The battle continues through June 20th. American pilots locate the fleeing mobile fleet and strike again, sinking carrier Hiyo and 2 oilers. But those losses are tactical, expected, the price of battle. Taiho and Shokaku represent something worse. They died not to American air power, not in pitched carrier battles, but to submarines, to single torpedo hits that exploited fundamental design flaws, to poor damage control that spread fuel vapors instead of venting them, to inexperience that killed more efficiently than enemy action. The numbers tell the story. 243 Japanese carrier aircraft shot down on June 19th alone. 315 total of 423 carrier aircraft destroyed. Pilots trained over years, irreplaceable, gone. The Great Marianas Turkey Shoot. But the carrier losses cut deeper. In 5 hours, 2 American submarines eliminated 1/3 of Japan's carrier strength at Philippine Sea. The battle eliminates the Imperial Navy's ability to conduct large-scale carrier operations entirely. Admiral Toyoda's words echo hollow now. The fate of the Empire rests on this one battle. The fate was sealed at 11:22 hours when Cavalla's torpedoes found Shokaku. Sealed again at 14:30 when Taiho's vapors ignited. 2 carriers, 2 submarines, 1 day, 1 empire's doom.